Ready for the Breeders' Cup, I guess.
Yeah, I was watching all the races today, and whatever. Really low card for 2 days before the big stuff, but they gotta fill it with something, I guess.
Yeah, I had some near misses. That one in the last race killed me.
Yeah, I had the one
Yeah, I
underneath,
need
but
it.
not on top.
Yeah, but it kind of looks like you want to be on the inside on the dirt.
Yeah, so far,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, at least I mean it looks like that horse came from off the pace, so that's a good sign. It looks like it might be playing a little bit more fair in that aspect, but I think all the winners were on the rail most of the way on the dirt today.
Yeah, I think both of the tracks seemed okay fair. I mean, pretty low competition, so I don't know how much we can read into that. There was like some 4 and 5 horse races too, so I guess tomorrow will be a better judge of how fair it's playing. But yeah, I think inside, even on the turf a little bit, I think uh, the inside right now is playing well. We'll see for tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, inside typically does on the turf just in general because you, there's no kickback and ground saving means more. But um, yeah, I agree.
What do you think of this Saturday card we're gonna do? I thought it was actually better than Kentucky Derby weekend and Preakness. Like I think this is a pretty stacked card.
Yeah, I think it's pretty awesome. I mean, I think it's the best betting card in a while too, as far as there's really not a ton of short price favorites that look like locks. Um, like I could see bombs coming in all
Yeah,
day. I mean, the turf races are tougher with all the Euros. It's just tough to know exactly how good they are. Um, but even the dirt races, like I think there's a lot of good races.
yeah, the dirt stuff looks tip top. It's crazy. Something like in that we'll talk about it, but the mile on the dirt. Where race is that? The 10, uh, Tumbarumba and I know what race is it? The 11, Tumbarumba. No, it's the 12. God damn it. Yeah, Tumbarumba and Cagliostro, 30 to 1 in that race, and understandably looking at the competition, but those are some good horses to go off at 30 to 1. We'll talk about that when we get there.
Yeah, I will say some of the morning lines are terrible.
Yeah, they're gonna move a lot.
Um, I say, yeah, like definitely some of them that were really questionable in my mind, but yeah, no, I agree that yeah, exactly. I mean, that's why the Breeders' Cup is the best typically, or that you can get really good horses at big prices, but a lot of times it doesn't play out that way, and it's pretty chalky. But it's not like there's any Baffert 2 to 5s or anything that look like that. So
Yeah, even the chalkier stuff, I think you can go against it in a couple of these races. If you're ready, we'll hop into it and start talking about the 8, because I kind of went a little chalky in this race. And looking at like Forever One, the one horse, I think that horse could even be the favorite in that race. I think it's going to get a lot of attention as kind of like everyone saw it in the Kentucky Derby, but then it's also kind of got an unknown aspect about it because a lot of people don't watch much of the Japanese stuff, and they maybe haven't seen some of the Dubai, Saudi Arabia stuff he did. So I'll start us off here in 8. I went Fierceness and Forever Young, the 4 and the 1 as my top choices, and those are probably going to be the 2 favorites. I thought this was kind of one of the weaker races. Um and there's a lot of questions underneath. I had also as well these two horses I'll probably drop some win bets on, and then they're going to get included in my exotics. I just wasn't sure how much I'm going to lean into them. Was the 12 and the 11, Arthur's Ride and Sierra Leone. Arthur's Ride on the front, just taking that, like, if he's able to get out to a decent first or second position, but not a fast-paced shot. I think it's a shame he drew the 12 post, but I think he's a good shot in here, and I like him as the speed. And then I just can't get away with from Sierra Leone. Like, he should be able to win this race. He should have won at least one of his last 4 races, at least one of those. It got beat by Fierceness twice, barely beat out Forever Young in the Derby. I can't leave this horse off of, like, the pick 4s, pick 5s, whatever, so I have to throw that one in underneath. I think those are the stronger horses of this race, but Fierceness and Forever Young on top. I don't even mind the one position for Forever Young. That horse has just seemed to, like, deal with whatever is in front of him, and then the Kentucky Derby trip by him was pretty crazy, just weaving back and forth with the same jockey he's had his whole career. So, yeah, those are 2 favorites I'm leaning into for the 1 and the 4. How did you see this one?
Yeah, it's a weird start with the Classic being the 8th race on the card, but it's I think it's a cool race. Yeah, I mean, I had Forever Young in the Derby, so that was brutal. He was definitely best in that race. I think he's a good horse. I do think he is going to be overbet, though.
Yeah, he might be the favorite. I wouldn't be surprised.
I think, yeah. Which I think if he is the favorite, I'm probably against him. Kind of same with Fierceness. I do think those are the 2 most likely winners. I think if they run their best with the good trips, they both would be tough. Especially if Forever Young's improved since the Derby. I actually like the one Baffert horse at a big price, 20-1 morning line, Newgate. I think I'm gonna bet him. I mean, he was pretty good last year. Ran in some big races, never really ran that fast, and then something went wrong in the Dubai race, but came back last time. And I thought ran huge. He was wide behind a slow pace. It was National Treasure and the 2 in this race, Highland Falls, right? Was it Highland Falls? No, it wasn't Highland
Senor
Falls. But
Buscador was in that, but he was like
yeah,
5th place or something.
Yeah, whatever. The 2 set a pocket trip. It was a good horse. I forget his name. The 2 in the actual race won it. But I thought that race was really big off the layoff. He's working well. I think he looks to get a nice trip. I mean, it's a long run into the first turn going this far. So I think you're just gonna sit right behind the leaders and get a great trip. Baffert, double-digit odds. That's gonna be my bet in this race. So.
Okay, for the same reasons I like Arthur's Ride, I'm on if I can get him and the ticket, I'll get Newgate in there. Similar profile. Unfortunately, they drew right next to each other, 12 and 13, which is going to be hard, but I wouldn't be surprised if one of those horses got in. And then the horse we didn't mention, Ushba Tesoro. I really like that horse, but I think he's running like the same trip as Sierra Leone. And, like, I don't know what to say about Sierra Leone, but if he wins this race, it's him. It's not going to be Ushba Tesoro, I think, but another horse underneath that I think is a good price.
Yeah, definitely. He's a good closer. And, yeah, I mean, some other horses that are interesting. Jeremy Sortagake, I mean, he ran 2nd in the Classic last year. He's kind of gone off form, but I mean, I think last time was just a prep for this spot, and I mean, he definitely showed he has talent. He ran big. He ran even big in the Derby too after missing the break, and that 2nd behind White Abario last year was legit. So Definitely has a talent if he can kind of round back into form. Next is kind of a wild card, trying the shorter distances, but after just dominating the marathon races versus weaker, but I don't know it's kind of hard to see him working out the trip to win. Um, he's just never far back, and he's gonna. I think for him to run his race, he's gonna have to be a little bit off the pace in this race. But that's just kind of a spot he's not used to. So, and I kind of think, I mean, if he is 8-1, I think that's kind of too low for me. And he's kind of a hype horse, so he might get over a bit. But we've also haven't mentioned City of Troy, who's the morning line favorite, which I don't think he'll be the morning line favorite. That'd be crazy, but yeah, I don't really get it. Um, Good turf horse, but looks like a turf horse. It's just a lot to ask to try dirt for the first time and go a mile and a quarter in America. Is going to have to eat kickback, and I just don't see it. And at a short price, he's not for me. But if he wins, it'll be pretty cool. But
That'll be
I don't know, it's
frustrating.
not for me.
Yeah, I'm against him too. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
if everyone's pulling out the stats, Brian, 2 of 70s go into these dirt stakes races, something crazy like that. Not at 5 to 2. I can't get behind it. If he was a long shot, maybe, but yeah, there's just so many good dirt horses in this race. We'll go on to the 9th race, mile and 3/8. Maker's Mark Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf, Grade 1. You mind starting us off here?
yeah. Yeah, I think this is a pretty weak race. I think the best race is that Woodbine race that the horses are coming out of. What's who's the favorite in here again?
Warlike Goddess, I think.
Um, yeah, okay, yeah, I think Warlike Goddess is facing a weaker field than she's faced in a while, so I think she definitely has a chance. I think there'll be some pace. I went on top. I went with the number 2 Full Count Felicia. I just don't think there's any pace in here, and I don't think other than Warlike Goddess may be a little slower this year than she's been in the past. Um, Still definitely a fan of that horse, and she can definitely win. But I thought the pace in that Woodbine Stakes um, was pretty quick, and since they've centered on the lead, kind of she's built up huge leads and has held on. So I don't know. Um, she might fall back and have no chance, but I think she'll be a big price, and I think she has a chance to maybe be ignored on the front end and steal it. She gets IRAD, which is interesting. So, yeah, I think it's a pretty open race. I really could see any horse winning. A shipper could win. I mean, I've always been a fan of Moira, who ran behind Full Count Felicia last time, but from the 10 posts, I think it's going to be tough. Tough for her. So, yeah.
Yeah, I get the Warlike Goddess. That's the reasonable favorite, and I'll have her on some tickets probably. I went with 2 other horses though that I thought were kind of the second tier. They have a good shot. I went with the 3 Cinderella's Dream, getting William Buick. Has ran out really strong in the stretch. Just looked like a good solid finisher that could go a little further. This is Charles Appleby. He's usually coming in hot to these Del Mar or any of the Breeders' Cup turf stuff, obviously. Not much to say about the workouts with these Charles Appleby horses, but it looks like it's in form, and she has a good shot behind Warlike Goddess, or getting that inside post compared to Warlike Goddess could be beneficial with these sharp turns if that the inside post bias, or I guess not even a bias, just if the inside pocket trips hold up. Because you got Full Count Felicia going out to the front, and then Cinderella maybe can tuck in there. Yeah, Full Count I like as the long pace, and I had her as like fourth or fifth pick, so I maybe can get to her on some tickets. And then I went with the 10 Moira that you mentioned. I thought this horse has just closed super strong against like a lot of slower paces recently. Second to Full Count Felicia, one back. Maybe the little extra distance compared to some of the other recent races will be beneficial to her here. And then she gets Flavian Pratt for the second time, first time this year. So I thought she was a good shot to fin as like a stronger mid-pack finisher. Might only be a couple links off the pace, hopefully, coming into the stretch. So might be like the front of the second pack and good position to finish. But yeah, otherwise I'm not super strong on any of these other horses, and those were the three I looked at.
Yeah, I'll definitely use more. Just also the same trainer as Full Count Full Count Felicia. So I just played that horse too many times where if she wins if she wins at a big price and I don't have her, I'll lose my mind. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think 2 and 10 are my two favorite. I mean, the Euros you typically look for coming in these marathon races are no, I think the 6 Yang scratched can tend to come in off bad form. Um, but yeah, they don't look that strong. Yeah, I mean the 3 Cinderella's Dream definitely has a chance. Hasn't really done anything wrong in America. 2 nice wins, but hasn't really beaten much either. But this field isn't that much too. So
Yeah, I didn't know that about Ling Ling. You said she scratched.
yeah,
She didn't look it good in any of the replays I saw of her either, so that makes sense. They probably just saw it a little above her pay grade right now. It's a tough one, I think. We'll go into the 10, 6 furlongs, back to the dirt now. It's the Cy Games Breeders' Cup Sprint, Grade 1. Love these dirt. These dirt races look like they're going to be fun. This was a difficult one as well. A lot of speed horses that have just been hanging on to the speed, just losing with the speed. Couple decent closer horses. I went with a little bit of a spread because I just wasn't sure, and I'll have a better idea as we get through tomorrow, probably in the first few races of this card, as far as how far off you can be on the dirt. But I went with On Top, Straight No Chaser, the 8. Seems to be improving, coming back with Daniel Blacker, who was under his barn for a while and was lights out for the most part. Struggled a little bit off of Lasix, but then swapped up trainers, came back to Dan Blacker's barn, and had a lights out victory last out at 6 furlongs, sprinting at Santa Anita. So I thought that was an interesting horse on the front to hold on. But there's a couple others I think will run that same trip. I had also Skelly the 11th, maybe a difficult post position, but the fractions are there. I mean, there's not much to say about this horse. Like, either wins or comes in second, pretty much. And I expect a similar result with him in this race. The third choice I did like was Remake the 9. Japanese horse. Really good closer from a mid backpack, typically in the few races I saw. Has beat some of these other horses, has raced close some of these other horses, beat Skelly once in Dubai, beat Don Frankie, and then raced Don Frankie close again, or with just a few behind Nakatomi, like 1 length behind Nakatomi in Dubai. I thought has a really good chance to close into any fast pace. And then another horse I would throw in more as an underneath is Don Frankie. That horse looks like they're going to send him as well as Straight No Chaser. There's a couple horses that I'm pretty sure they're just going to send because that's kind of what they do, and they hold on enough to give them a shot in this race. So I think Don Frankie as the horse they send, followed by either Remake or Skelly mopping up late is kind of the way I was looking at this race, with most of the other speed horses not being able to hold on with the fractions at 6 furlongs here. There's a lot of other horses though that I could hear out a case for, especially the 10 Mulligan. What did you make of this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna. If the dirt's playing even remotely fair, I'm probably gonna chuck out all the speed and box the closers. Actually, I like the 2 Gun Pilot. It's coming off some 2 tough trips with slow paces. Now it's getting inside. It's gonna get a perfect trip, it looks like. Ran behind Mulligan last time. I think of the speed horses, Mulligan's probably the best and has proven that he can actually sit second or third and win. I mean, just every other horse in here wants to go to the lead. I mean, the 4 Nakatomi, I think that's the other good closer, and then the Don Frankie horse. The remake. Sorry, remake. Yeah, Don Frankie's going to be sent too. So I mean, this pace is just going to be scorching at remake. So I have 269 written down. And then I might include Mulligan as the one, if the speed holds a little bit and he's able to kind of press in second. But yeah, I'm going to go for bombs in here. I'm going to go for the closers. I like the 2 and the 9 that you said. And I think Nakatomi's got a shot too.
Yeah, if that pace heats up, Nakatomi's in there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see how. I mean, it has to. Like, I mean, it is 6 furlongs. It is the dirt. But 1's got to go from the rail. 3's going to go. 5's going to go. 6 is going to go. 8's going to go. 11. So, I mean, even if half of those are going, I just don't see how they're not stacked pretty wide around that turn, and some good closers can pick them up. But we'll see. It's hard betting closers on the dirt, regardless of the pace sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, I think I'll try to narrow down my ticket, kind of judging that. Like tomorrow and the opening of this card, is it holding up to be fair, or is it pretty much speed on the front? Like that's a quick way to start narrowing it down. Because even if it's speed on the front, even if they send like 5 or 6 of these horses, like 2 or 3 of them are probably going to break off to the first group, and you'll have one of those horses win it, I would imagine. But we'll see if it holds up to be a bit fairer. Yeah, Mulligan as well was it's probably my next horse that I just left off the list. I might even move him up above Don Frankie. I really like that horse though. Looks like a cool horse, and they just send him.
Yeah, I just don't know how he's gonna win this race.
No, yeah, it's a tough spot.
Like it's just such a tough spot for that. I mean, I'm definitely a fan of the horse, and I definitely think he's got a lot of talent. But
also a cool
if he
name.
can put away all those speeds and win, I would. I'll tip my cap.
All right, we'll go on to 11. 1 mile on the turf. This is the Breeders' Cup Mile. Last 2 races I thought were pretty interesting overall. Maybe the 2 harder ones in this sequence for me. You mind starting us off here on this turf mile and telling me who you got?
Yeah, I think this is a very difficult race. Um, I could see 7, 8 horses winning. The 4, Diego Velasquez, I think is the best Euro coming in. Good post, Ryan Moore. Um, so I think that one was probably of the and the 1 Ramatui. I think those are the 2 Euros that I'll definitely be using in some way. I do like more than looks though. Um, to be the lone American chance, I think, in this race. Sherry DeVoe horses have been running off the screen, even at Keeneland and big meets, big stakes races. This colt got an absolutely brutal trip last time, ran huge behind Carl Spackler, who I think has no chance in this race. That horse drew the 12 post and likes to be forwardly placed or pressing. He's either going to have to go too fast or be hung wide. So, um, yeah, he's gonna need the pace to be a little bit quick, but I think this is a real serious horse, and um, ran pretty good in the mile last year with a kind of a bad trip. So I think has been unlucky. Both starts behind Carlos Spackler. I thought his ran actually better than Carlos Spackler, just has had terrible trips. So hopefully there's a little bit of pace and anywhere near 20-1. That's probably my favorite long shot of the weekend.
Okay, yeah, I have more than looks as my underneath play. I'll just go with one horse on top, and then I've got like 3 or 4 underneath, and I like those underneath ones a lot, and it's hard to even have one horse on top here. I agree with you. I'm against Carl Spackler here a lot because of the rail draw. It's just going to be really difficult based on how that horse likes to run. But I went with the 9, Johannes on top. Has a little experience here at Del Mar. Super just solid horse. Kind of, it doesn't really seem to depend too much on his trip. Kind of can work through the traffic. Has done that a few times. Has experience here with Umberto Rispoli. Umberto with the trainer. Good matchup. And I thought this horse was probably the most likely the American horses to pull a win here. I had, like you said, more than looks underneath, and I'll probably have some tickets focusing a bit more on that horse. How that horse should have won last against Carl Spackler. Super tough trip and still cleared 4 links in the stretch coming through traffic. So has a good shot here. I like probably is the second American horse. And then I had Porta Fortuna with Johannes on top. I would probably move him to my second row of just a few horses that I like just underneath Johannes. Super solid, coming just off the pace as well. Has beat out Ramatuya once or twice. And that was a solid looking horse as well, but this mile seems to suit Porta Fortuna a lot and closes into some slower paces. Some of these other races in Ireland and Great Britain were really slow and came just off the pace into those. So I like that horse as well. And as another long shot, like you said about Diego Velazquez, probably the better looking of the European horses in this race. So if I can get to him, he's on here. But I went with the 2, Chili Flag, getting Irad again. I just think this is a super solid horse, kind of a smaller build, but just looks so good closing late. I don't know if it's like the smaller strides that they can just keep up the same pace later into the race or something, but I think this horse is a really good shot for the exacta, and I might have it on top on some tickets. Coming off a race or I guess it's been about a month now in Keeneland, but came in second to Gina Romantica, which was a really good race, and now coming back to Irad, who's got more experience. I like that horse a whole lot. I wish this was an easier field for him, but I couldn't get on top, get him on top. But yeah, I really like Johannes here on top.
Yeah, I don't really like Johannes, to be honest. I just think similar to Carl Spackler, I just don't really see her. I don't really see him getting the trip from the 9 post. I think I don't know. I just don't. I don't know how good the California turf horses are, and I think he'll be facing some real monsters or real tough competition in here, and he might get hung a little bit wide. So, um, yeah, the 9 and the 12 are kind of play against at short prices, but I mean, I guess there isn't a ton of Goliad's going to be winging it on the front end, so maybe there's enough space for them two to drop over in between Goliad and the rest of the field. But it's kind of a quick run into that first turn, and I think it's going to be difficult for them.
Yeah, that's fair. What did you think about Goliath? Do you think he has a shot here? Because his last 2 races,
I mean,
they just let him do the same thing.
yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. Seen worse 20-1 shots for sure. I just think there's so many good horses in here that it's going to be tough to hold them all off. But um, yeah, and that's another reason why I kind of like um, More Than Looks a bit more, is because this should be a strung out field with Goliad winging it on the front end. But I don't know. I don't. I mean, if he did blow up in the Shoemaker Mile, but I mean, coming back at Kentucky Downs has been pretty impressive, winning back to back. But I don't know. I don't think. Who knows? We'll see how the turf course is playing too, but I don't think I'll be using them. We'll see.
Yeah, that's fair. Should be a good race. I'm curious to see how this is the Euro race where I'm probably going to get hit by one of the Euros I don't put in, right? Like Notable Speech, or if I leave off Ramatouille or whatever, that's where they win. So
Yeah, I'll probably. Yeah, I'm gonna be using a bunch in this race. Um, I'll either be like singling. I'll be using like Diego Velasquez and More Than Looks. Go really narrow on one ticket, and then I'll probably use like all the Euros and those two on another or something. I think it's a very difficult race for sure.
Geoglyph is well in the 3 slot. I thought was interesting as a shipper horse, 20-1, but has put up some
Yeah.
cool
No, I mean
races.
Yeah. No, I'll be using him on a spread on one of the spreader legs for sure. And pretty much any just drawn to the inside, I'll be using on the turf, regardless of price. Their racing is getting really good, especially on the turf, and um, I don't think we're talking about it, but oh wait, no, we did. No, we didn't. The 7th race, the Breeder Cup turf, the Breeders' Cup turf, that the 3 share I don't know how to say it, but 10-1 this year was 25-1 last year. I had him and got a rough trip and ran a 3rd, but I thought it was probably best in that race. Um, so yeah, I mean, the Japanese on dirt and turf could kind of. I think it's coming one of these next few years. They're gonna win like everything, and it could be this year, where they're kind of gonna shake up racing, being like, okay, they're better than racing now.
Yeah,
Um,
it wouldn't surprise
I
me.
don't know if they're quite there yet, but I think it could be coming soon. More on the turf than the dirt. Dirt's a lot more difficult for sure.
Yeah, they haven't shipped in as well to the dirt pretty much anywhere yet. They'll get there too. We'll go into the last race here. Mile on the Dirt. Another interesting one, I thought. Did you start us off last, or was that me?
I think I did.
Okay, I'll go here then. I've got one horse on the top that I'm super interested in. There's going to be a little bit of pace in this race, and I'm interested in those horses, and I'm interested in who's going to get first shot at those horses. So on top, I got Domestic Product, who can come off the pace or be right there with the pace and finish out. The mile, 7 furlongs type distance seems to fit this horse more than the mile and the 8th, mile and a quarter, mile and the 16th they were running him at. Has finished pretty well. The last few races looked a lot better, looked improved, especially since the Kentucky Derby. That's something that's something I'll always look at, is those big races with 20 horses, 15 horses. What horses are coming off and then improving off those races consistently, and Domestic Product fits that bill 100%. Comes back with Flavian Pratt here, teaming up with Chad Brown. One-on-one at the distance, like I said. So I think that's a horse that's going to be just off these couple of inside speed horses, and has the stamina that the outside post shouldn't affect it too much. Underneath, the two speeder horses that I liked a bit was Seize the Gray and Saudi Crown. Saudi Crown maybe a little bit more than Seize the Gray. I think that last race was kind of like a prep race for this race, and they didn't even seem to push it too hard, and they won that race pretty easily. This was difficult for me though. After Domestic Product and those two horses, I really do like Tumbarumba and Cagliostro, and I could see either of those horses fitting into the trifecta or the exacta pretty easily. I think they're alive in this race. This is kind of a comeback spot for both of them as well. And Tumbarumba, I thought, was a shoo-in in that last race that they scratched him out of. And I think this race is a bit more difficult, but they seem to really like him at a mile. So I think he's just as live. So those were a couple of the underneath horses, mainly the speed and just off the speed horses. There's quite a bit of speed in this as well, which that's interesting. We'll see if it holds up. Who did you go with here?
Yeah, so very similar to the sprint. I'm playing the closers in this race too. I just think this race has to blow up too, especially going 2 turns. A lot of these horses coming out of 1-turn mile or 2-turn races, or 1-turn miles or sprint races. I just think, I mean, the one's gonna go, sees the gray, wants to be forwardly placed. The 2, T.O. St. Denis, the Japanese horse, he's a full send horse. Muth will probably be forwardly placed. Tumbarumba. Mufasa's coming out of a sprint from the outside. Pipeline has wicked early speed. So yeah, I thought this was a really difficult race. Another one where I'm probably just gonna use a couple closers. I definitely think Domestic Product is probably the best one. Definitely like the cutback in distance. After kind of going on the Derby Trail, really found his form as kind of a 1-turn horse, and looks like he got a perfect trip. Is kind of improving. Chad Brown, that one makes a lot of sense. The 8 post time I like, 12-1. I think this horse is pretty underrated. Ran really good in the Whitney, going a mile and 1/8, but I think in the Met Mile behind National Treasure, but that was the most speed favoring course ever. At Saratoga during that time. Won his prep nicely at Laurel. Runs his race every time. 9 wins, 13 starts. Really cool horse. Wish the jockey doesn't always give him the best ride, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, I like Domestic Product, post time, and a bomb I like is the 3 full Serrano, 15-1. Set the pace last time and just got nailed in the Pacific Classic, and set a really quick pace and won at Del Mar too. But I think that was more of a factor of how the track was playing. I don't think this horse needs a lead or really wants to be. If you actually watch his races back in Argentina, I mean, he's won going a mile and a quarter on the turf, um, and has shown he can rate and win. So I think he's going to get an inside stalking, and I think he's pretty dangerous cutting back in distance at a massive price. I think he'll be even higher than that 13-1. I think he'll be completely ignored in this race. So, um, yeah, I mean, I could mention probably every other horse in this race, but those are the three I'm probably focusing on, the 3, 8, and 9.
Okay, yeah, Full Serrano. I took a look at it, and it's an interesting horse. And I've seen him pop up in some of the his 2 races where against a lot of horses you're going to see Saturday, and it does look like they're kind of they were playing him for this race. They come in at a mile at optional claimer, he wins pretty easily. Put him at a G1 a little further out, finishes second. So yeah, it seems like they set him up to do well in this race, and then the workouts back it up as well. So that's a good call for a nice bomb horse for him. At least the exact does if he gets ran down late or might hold on. We'll see.
Yeah, I just hope they don't. I just hope they don't send him. I don't think he's got
They
any
put
shot if
Joel
he tries to
Rosario
go.
on
But
him so he would not be sent, I think.
yeah,
Put the
yeah.
anchor
I mean,
down.
probably won't get out of the gate then. Yeah.
Already anchored. Yeah, I'm interested a little.
I want to race on the turf today.
What? Oh yeah, I saw that.
I said Rosario want a nice ride on that horse to beat me again.
Yeah,
He's so annoying.
he's good for one of those.
Cause
Every
he'll keep
day.
throw. Yeah, like he's like, I actually like him on long shots because like this horse, like a closing long shot, I'm fine with it because he can put on a good closing ride. Um, and he puts on a good one, he really finishes well. But um, short price, no thanks.
Yeah, yeah. This is a spot to play. Full Serrano's a good shot in this race. A little bit interested too in T.O. St. Dennis. Like probably not going to finish in the trifecta, but also has a chance to just be sent at an ungodly speed. And if you can't make up distance on the dirt for whatever reason, like has a shot, and you're going to see that horse at like 51. But couldn't really get too serious about the Japanese horses in this race, honestly. Where was the other one? Or that was in the last race, the 10 Happy Rose, right?
Yeah, the other one I have two.
Okay.
He's
And
the only
those,
one in this one.
10 Happy Rose kind of had that same profile as T.O. St. Dennis. How does this horse even get into these races, this T.O. St. Dennis? Like, what was the qualifier?
Um, you don't have to qualify. You can pay it away.
It's
Pay
just
to
an
get in.
inner, just
So
the stakes straight up.
yeah, you just got to
Huh.
pay. So I mean, it's actually a good sign to look at.
Yeah.
If you look at the automatic qualifiers, the win in your in horses are the ones that are paying. Because if you're paying, they're pretty serious about it. You
Yeah.
know. Obviously, if you're not gonna pay all the money if you're not gonna bring a horse you don't think is live. So, but yeah, most of them are winning your in, but some aren't.
I wonder with that horse. They did that with a race the day before the Derby, the 3rd of May. It was a sloppy course. The speed almost held up at some pretty crazy fractions. I wonder if they just saw that they
Yeah.
could do that on the dirt and they're trying to do it again. But like the slop that day, I feel like was holding speed up a little better than the other day.
Well, and it's just miles tougher spot today, going a mile versus 14 horses. That I remember that race. It was after some scratches, only horses. There was no other speed in the race, so he was all alone. Like he's not going to be all alone.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think
I
he's
think I
got
like Full
any
Sail
shot
more.
to. Yeah.
Well, there are going to be some good ones. I'll do it for this pick 5. You got any other thoughts or like some bombs you want to call out earlier in the card? Or maybe, look, first, yeah, let me ask you that. Do you have any bombs or anything you want to call out earlier in the.
Where did we start? Race number 8. Yeah, we started with the classic. I don't know. I have so much shit written down right now with all these races. Let's see. Well, in the distaff, the 6th race, I think Torpedo Anna is going to get beat. She's a short price at 4 to 5. I just think she's had a really long campaign, and I think she showed signs that. I mean, that Travers race was absolutely huge behind Fierceness. That was probably the coolest race of the year. But then at the Parks race came back, and I mean, she barely beat some very average horses, and declined in her speed figure quite a bit. So I don't really like that coming into their toughest race, kind of the regress. But so I mean, she obviously can win, but she's going to be a heavy favorite. I kind of like, or the 4, Alice Verit. We were kind of talking about the long shot Japanese, or the full send Japanese horses. That horse is a full send on the turf, switching to dirt for the first time, but it's going to be lone speed in here. Is going to be an absolute bomb. But I like the where was it? Um, I like the 5 Sugarfish. I think this horse is getting slept on. Haven't really heard anyone touting her at all. But kind of had a bad trip in the Adair Manor race. And then last time at Santa Anita, I thought she ran huge. It was a slow pace, angled out, and finished really strong. So it's going a little farther today, but looks like a horse that'll even get better with the distance, not worse. And is kind of on the upswing, improving into her best form right now, where a lot of the other horses in here are kind of regressing or look like they've kind of peaked this year already. I'm against. I think Awesome Result has a chance in that race. So yeah, Distaff I think is a good betting race because I think Torpedo Anna is pretty vulnerable.
Okay. Yeah, cool. I'm against, or I'm for going against Torpedo Anna as well in that race. I don't have a strong opinion right now though, so I'll definitely take a second look at those sources you mentioned, especially the Japanese one. Very interested in that.
Yeah, that he's probably yeah. The 2 Japanese ones are actually I think in here.
I
That are
like that
good.
Alice Very that you were talking about.
Yeah, that's could make the whole weekend bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're just they're just gonna let her roll, and even she could, since she's kind of an unknown, she could even soften up Torpedo Anna too if Hernandez kind of puts her forward, and then it's kind of caught up with chasing her for a little bit. Um, it might be tough for her late, but like Torpedo Anna is not going to be. She shouldn't be near. If she's near Alice Verit, she's in trouble early. Because yeah, they're gonna dead send her.
And then for the races we covered 8 through 12, would you have a favorite like bomb play? Maybe not the most confident play, but like a horse at the some longer odds that you just have to get behind a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I like I like prices in pretty much every race, but I think Newgate. I mean, I'm definitely gonna bet that horse if it's even close to 20 to 1. That's probably my favorite price, and it's in the classic. And also, Sherry DeVoe horse in the turf mile. I think more than looks is a chance for the U.S. I don't think more than looks is going to be. I don't think. I don't know. It's tough to say how they're going to bet these races. I think those morning lines are both going to be high, but they are both 12, 13, 14 horse fields with a ton of other contenders. So, uh, yeah, those are. I mean, those are two 20 to 1 shots that on the morning line that I'll be betting for sure.
Yeah, I would bet the more than looks. I bet it doesn't move too much, honestly. Like people are a lot of the betting public will just see that he's been beat by Skilly twice and downgrade him or whoever. Who was it in that race? Carl Spackler.
Carl
Yeah.
Spackler, yeah,
Um.
yeah, and the Euros usually win that race,
Mhm.
so they'll probably take a lot of money. But
Yeah, I would go a similar direction. I
yeah,
like.
Sherry DeVoe's
Go ahead.
now the Sherry DeVoe's got some Brad Cox, Chad Brown. She's everything is picking up extra lengths, if you know what I'm saying. So I think people are paying attention, and that horse is really run Matt like last time against Carl Spacker got bumped way wide going in the first turn, like terrible trip, and came like a rocket home. So
Yeah, I would go a similar direction. I think my bombs would be probably more than looks and maybe Chili Flag in that race is like some kind of exact inclusion there. Both two bomb finisher horses that are probably gonna be moving quick down the stretch. And then I would go a little similar direction but different horse in that other race. Instead of Newgate, I like Arthur's Ride. I think those are both you can like them both for similar reasons, and maybe just let the price aside depending on if one moves up or down. But those are some good shots and for some pretty crazy prices.
yeah, yep, that's it's definitely some good racing. It's going to be hard to narrow down a lot of these races. I would definitely be playing a lot of doubles, exactas, more wins bets than usual, and it's just going to be real tough to string together races in like a pick five. I think I'll definitely have a few really cheap ones taking shots with just my best opinions, but um, I think there's going to be some big prices all day, and even if you can just hit one big exacta or try, you can make your weekend and then some on just one race.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a similar approach. I'll probably break this up into like I might go a couple pick threes within this sequence. I'll have a cheap pick five ticket, maybe the pick four if I lose the pick five. I'll probably put some tickets in with like Sierra Leone and Arthur's Ride as like the singles. Like, just fuck it. Let Sierra Leone beat me again. You know, um, if you can't do it now,
Yeah,
it's now or never.
you're asking for it with Sierra Leone. I mean, that would be that was me last time for her. It was like, okay, that race. I will say, I thought, yeah, you just feel like such an idiot when he doesn't win again. But um, I don't. I mean, because that last race, it looked like there was what was it, Saratoga? I think it looked like it was all speed and it didn't turn out that way. Fierceness got a really easy trip and he came running like he always did, but he really still hasn't gotten a hot pace to run at.
No, that's
Um,
why I have to keep
and
including
he
him.
and he will. Yeah, yeah. No, I respect it, and like if I play, I'll probably be playing this race. I'll probably be playing the exacta and try. Um, Keen, um, and he'll definitely be. I'll definitely be using him underneath because, I mean, he runs second or third every time. But um, yeah, no, yeah. If he wins, I'll hope you made some money, but I won't. I'll be crying probably.
Yeah, it's Sierra Leone will ruin one of our days either way. That's just how it goes, I think. But he's one of those horses. My real tickets, I will concentrate more on fierceness and mostly Forever Young, especially Forever Young. But yeah, I'm gonna have some floaters out there with Sierra Leone somewhere in there. But yeah, this should be a really fun car to race, and thanks for hopping on and covering this with us, Conductor.
Yeah, yeah. No, should be good. Hopefully, a lot richer next time I talk to you.
Well, yeah, hopefully we don't even do this podcast anymore because we're multimillionaires after this day.
I like that.
Great. Thanks.